The opinions expressed in the Larry and Charlie Show do not necessarily represent those of KJ's Place, its owners, or its employees. Caution, you're about to hear the naked truth without any apologies.
Live from KJ's Place, 2500 West Metairie Avenue, Kenner, Louisiana. You've got the Larry and Charlie Show. Well, shit. Here we go.
There you go.
All right, today for our guest, we've got Misty, the First Lady of New Orleans, the godfather of all lesbians, the man.
Somebody
Or the
had to do it.
woman? Is it the woman?
Woman.
Woman.
Yeah.
And the host every Wednesday night on Facebook, y'all look it up, it's Les, what is it?
Believe it or not, is Les Talk About It.
Les Talk About
Right,
It.
right.
Right. And it's live on Facebook, so all you have to do is just type in the search Les Talk About It, and you can click on that. And every Wednesday night starts at 6, right?
6, right.
6 Central Time. It's an interesting show. She has some great guests, and it's been on quite a while now.
Yeah, it's over a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. The Misty has been a guest we've been wanting to have on now, Charlie, for a long time.
She's a busy woman.
Busy woman.
Finally.
Busy woman.
We have
We are here. And Misty has got some interesting hobbies, I guess you could call it, or passions or interests.
All the above.
All the above.
Yeah.
And the first one I want to talk about is your paranormal experience, because I know you even did a Facebook Live doing a live investigation, right?
Yeah.
And tell me about how you look at paranormal and how you approach each investigation.
Okay. I started investigating over a year ago, and we, like you said, what was that? Halloween Eve, I should say.
Right.
We investigated at what's normally called the Axeman Hotel. It's actually called the Haunted Hotel. It's on Ursuline Street in New Orleans, and it's reportedly where the Axeman stayed while he, axed people, and so they actually have his room where we were actually staying that night. I don't know why I'm saying actually, maybe actually. I don't know. I don't know.
Let's be honest.
Right. Let's be honest about it. But maybe we actually got to stay in his room while we investigated around. Now, prior to the investigation that we just did on Halloween Eve, Carrie Roy and I, who is a famous psychic medium here in New Orleans, we did an investigation there last year.
Right.
And so we kind of kicked that off, and then I was excited about being able to return. Her scheduling, she's busier than me, so her scheduling couldn't, but so it was me and my wife Catherine and 2 of our friends, and we did an investigation there, and it was overnight, and it was, we got some, what I like to call, that we got some evidence, and it was really an interesting time for us.
Okay. Now, when you talk about evidence, is it EVP? Is it strange knocking or something moving? Or
Well, what we have on the footage that I'm able to go through that was on the Facebook Live, we actually caught 2 EVPs.
okay.
The electronic voice phenomenon that was, when I was speaking, it was something that said a name.
Right.
And then as I'm talking and expounding, and I go to sit down, it said, you could hear it goes, "Thank you." I don't know if it was thanking me for shutting up or thank you for acknowledging them or what, but it said thank you. So I was, what was really cool is that one of the names that it said was actually a name of one of the owners.
Interesting.
That we didn't know at the time.
Yeah. Okay.
When we were investigating, so that was kind of cool for that to happen. But you can definitely, at the Haunted Hotel, it really lives up to its name. When you walk in, you go through like a long alleyway into the courtyard, and it's like you can feel the like the ambiance of it. It's kind of creepy and it's a beautiful place once you get through that little walkway, and the courtyard everywhere is really beautiful. But what a lot of people don't know is there are 2 bodies buried in the courtyard.
Really?
One is buried under a room in a steel casket like thing, and the other one is built across the courtyard in the like the flowers in the little garden that they have there. And a lot of people don't know that, and they said that the reason that the men were buried in steel was because even the spirits didn't even want them to, in the afterlife, to be around them because they were so evil.
Really?
Really?
That's what
And
they
who
said.
are these people?
I'm not for sure. Now, we went and investigated in the room that had the allegedly has the casket buried under, and
Like it's under the slab.
is under the slab of the room, and we got the room was real, and I don't think at that time I didn't know that anything about the caskets. When we were there last time, we didn't know about the caskets, but we kept saying that there were 2 men and a female that were there. But the room with the casket, I don't know if y'all have y'all ever used like the L rods or the dowsing rods?
I have. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the ladies that was with us, she was, because when you're doing the L rods, like you're not supposed to be the one to ask the questions.
Right.
Which I see on TV a lot of times that the people are, they're
Right.
asking and they're like, oh, and then, oh, look, they're moving. Well, yeah, because, But she was asking it a question like, something like, do you have, like, are you mad at Misty, or do you know Misty? And the rods go, and they point right at me. And I'm like, oh, that's not good. I was like, they do remember me from last time. That's not really good.
This switch is back.
Right, there she is. Waiting on you. So yeah, that was kind of, I was just in the video, I'm kind of like, oh, it's like pointing at me, because I mean it was dead, like boom, right on me. No pun intended. But yeah, so it's a really cool place, a great investigation. We also, last year, Carrie and I, we investigated, I'm sure y'all have heard of Clay Shaw.
Oh, yeah.
We got to investigate his mansion on Esplanade.
Just for those of you who don't know Clay Shaw, what was the DA's name?
Garrison, Jim Garrison.
Jim Garrison was convinced that that Kennedy was there was a plot to kill Kennedy, and that originated here in New Orleans. And he believed Clay Shaw was one of the organizers of the assassination of JFK. Now, Clay Shaw was a gay man who was really wealthy, and he actually went on trial, but he was acquitted.
Right.
But it's interesting that, I mean, it would be fascinating if you know that history, which not everybody knows because that was a long time ago.
Right.
What you really discovered there, I'd love to hear this.
Okay, it was an investigation that Carrie Roy and I, and for those of you who do not know Carrie Roy, like I said, she's a psychic medium here in New Orleans. She was named by the Travel Channel as the best psychic to see in New Orleans, and by BC America as the best psychic to see in America. So she really knows her stuff, and this is what she does. She's a professional psychic medium and does readings and has her office, a very nice office. Right. She doesn't have a table like, no offense to anyone who has the table out on the square, but I'm saying she has, she's established as a professional.
What you're saying is she's not like the little old lady that you used to see in all the creepy movies with the...
No, not at all. So she and I, was our second investigation. Our first investigation together was at the Andrew Jackson Hotel last year, and then we did the Clay Shaw was our second. It was very interesting. It's like I said, on Esplanade. I can't give out the exact address, but the home is being remodeled, and it's a huge home. It's right. Like very huge, and at first he didn't like us either. And I think towards the end, it's like I kind of figured out why, that he had a problem with Carrie and I being there, because I think that he thought we were going to move him out. Like ask him to leave, or, and right. he really he loved that home so much, and he like won an award there the plaque is still on his house to this day, right? Because that was his show place. It was something that he was very proud of, his home, and I think that when we were there, he kind of thought that we were going to, to do something to him. So there's equipment. I don't know. Y'all may know. I just want to describe it, right? To clarify, there's a equipment called, like a lot of the ghost hunters use it. It's called the Obulus. and it has the dictionary, phonetic dictionary, and it'll say a word. The spirits are allegedly they can manipulate it. So we were talking, and I just all of a sudden just felt weird, and like even Carrie was saying something, because I don't know, I'm gonna have to talk to her about this. I always get stuck with using the dowsing rods, and she gets to ask the questions, so I'm gonna have to talk to her, like, what's up with that? But I always get the crazy feeling and the mad, the anger and the stuff, because here they are, and she was like, we were talking, and she's like, it felt like that they were going to come right through you. And I said, I know. I said, I just felt really angry, like weird. And the ovulus right then, it said assault.
What?
And we both were like, turned, because it was like sitting there, like, what? So you could really feel it. But what was really crazy, as we were walking off, and I said something to her, and then this was when the cameras were cut, and we were walking out of the room to set up for the next scene. And I told her, I said, I just felt, I said, I don't understand why it was, feeling that way, like about the assault. And I didn't realize it was still on, and it said joke.
Wow.
Joke, and I was like, aha, real funny, because, it's and it was just really an interesting place to investigate. And we're supposed to be going back there. The owners invited us back, because since we've been there, they've had like an uptick in even more
what you're
activity.
telling me is wealthy gay ghosts have a sense of humor?
I believe so. I know. I guess so, because I know some wealthy gay men that have sense of humor. So I always believe that however that you are in life, that's how you're going to be in death. And, you don't automatically, when you die, become this evil, mean person.
Right,
You're like a spirit or whatever. Like, I think how you are, you carry it. Mm-hmm. You carry it to the afterlife. So
What's the most terrifying moment that you ever had doing an investigation?
Oh, let me think on that. We were at the Andrew Jackson. I don't if you don't know, that's on Royal Street, I believe. Yeah, by the Cornstalk Hotel. And we were staying, because we always have to wind up being wherever the action is.
Right.
So we were staying in the room where actually 5 boys died, like burned to death. We're like, oh yeah, sign us up. We'll stay here. And so I always like sleep with one eye open, just in case. I always say, because I'm investigating, but it's hard to say. There it was really creepy there. As far as like of all the places there, the Clay Shaw and the Axeman, I really think that the Andrew Jackson was really creepy, and we got a lot of good evidence on that. And I think looking back on the evidence, like during the moment, I'm not really creeped out, because it's like I relate to them, or I kind of feel an affinity. But like looking back on the evidence, when you see like there's the orbs are on you, or the lights, or you see a shadow, and then you think, oh my God, I was just standing there, and there's like a shadow that passes in front of me, or that, then it kind of bothers me, because I'm like, I can't see, I didn't see that. So that really,
We used to do investigations, and I was working as I did some personal bodyguard work, and I worked as a security guard as well for other productions for for the movies and stuff. And we would go with locations, and like to make extra money, they'd be like, "Hey, do you want to sleep in your car overnight in front of this place?" And I'm like, "Yeah, cool. Give me the keys." So I'd call my buddies, and they'd come over with a digital recorder and some other stuff, and we'd put them all out. We stayed in this place on the West Bank. It's in Algiers. It's called Toro Shakespeare. It's Toro Shakespeare Nursing Home.
yes.
So it was just me
Like
all day long.
where the tuba's at?
My hat's off to you.
No.
My hat's off to you.
So we go in there. It was really creepy. The chapel is like marble inside. I could show you pictures. It's really cool. Stained glass windows, marble, very elaborate. And the whole rest of the place is gutted. But it's several floors, and it's a very large building, and the architecture is beautiful. So I went and set my recorder in the chapel. And I said, listen, there's noises all night long. Now, it's hard to debunk a building this big because it's so open and all. But like chains rattling, that shouldn't be rattling. It sounds like people are walking. Your normal kind of stuff. And we had cleared it for homeless people the day before. So I'm in there, and we're hearing all these things, and we caught a lot of EVPs, but we caught a lot of EVP over EVP. Some are audible, some are muffled by other EVPs. It really felt the feeling that you got. You ever walk in a place that, like, you know, a lot of stuff is going on, and you go in there and you feel like you're interrupting something because everybody's trying to move around and do their thing. You really felt like you were interrupting something, even though you were in an empty building.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't like a super frightening feeling. It was just like a feeling of like, hey, you don't belong. You're supposed to be sitting here. This kind of thing, you know. And we caught a lot of really audible EVPs in that.
I honestly don't have a story. I've never
Once you don't have one.
So would you take the Myrtles seriously, or do you think that's fake? Like,
I wouldn't say that it's fake. We did go and spend the night at the Myrtles, and I mean, I personally didn't feel anything there. I have a funny story. Before I get to the funny story, though, I even went into the closet by myself, you know, trying to, and we even got allegedly the most haunted was the William Winters room, and I never felt, which I've heard a lot of other people who have, and sometimes you just don't.
right.
You got to be there at the right time.
The
And
stories I hear about the Myrtles, it's like somebody in the background just making something move, or, you know.
right.
Actually,
I could never take it seriously.
my daughter and her husband, they went to the Myrtles and they stayed one night.
Mm-hmm.
And they got a room that was supposedly has activity. And I have a digital recorder, you know, that I used to use for business. I said, take this and put it on when you go to sleep. Let's see if anything comes out.
Right.
And that night when they went to sleep, she left it on. And there was activity. She said that first thing we heard on the thing was, we heard her suitcase unzip.
Oh, wow.
We heard it. I mean, you could literally hear it, because it was like, you know, a big zipper. And then you hear somebody goes, go through it. And like,
That was Chloe trying to see if there was any extra
Right.
jewelry in
well, I
there.
know, but she was like, so, anyways,
But they were sleeping.
but they were sleeping. And then they heard something that woke them up. And then they started to hear like strange things. But it was interesting. She said the next morning when she got up, her suitcase, which was zipped and closed, was open and her clothes were all over the place.
Wow.
Now that happened at the Myrtles.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, you know, damn it, why weren't I there? Because I want something to happen
Well,
to me.
sure.
I stayed in the yellow fever room at the Myrtles.
Okay.
You're supposed to get the sweats and all, and we did. We got sweats and all, and it's because there's no air conditioning, and it's hot as shit.
Right?
And I don't think it was paranormal. It was just 80 degrees outside. It's hot as hell, and they got a big thick bed sheet. And you're staying in this old bed, and it's hot.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know that it was yellow fever.
Now you said you had a funny story about the Myrtles.
Well, yeah, my wife, it was me and her that were there, and you know how when you stay over, you meet the people in the other rooms and you talk,
Right.
but before we had went on the tour, and then up in the doll room, and they were saying don't touch the dolls, you know, death, whatever dolls, cause all kind of crazy happenings and stuff. Don't touch the dolls. Well, I was talking to everybody, and then I guess I went to the bathroom or somewhere. Anyway, when I got back, I'm like looking, and Catherine standing up there holding one of the dolls, and talking to somebody, and I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, I want to see what it's going to do. And she's like talking and going all over the place, holding the doll, and I'm like, nothing though. And she was like, I was like, only you, because I look, even though I'm around this so much, I still, like if somebody says, don't touch this pen, I'm not touching the pen, just in case.
Put Annabelle down.
Right, put Annabelle down.
Balls to play with the dog.
Yeah, she's like, and we go to the haunted places, she's like out. You know, me, I'm always like looking around, but she's like out.
Let me. You talked about the lady you worked with, the psychic medium. So
Yes.
What's the difference between a psychic and a medium?
From what I understand, is a psychic is somebody that can see into the future and knows, like can pick up on people's energies and stuff and know things about them. Can maybe foretell things that's going to happen or things that has happened or going, in the present. A medium is someone that can literally communicate with the dead, whether it are spirits, whether it'll be those like that's been gone a long time or recent or whatever they have that they can see and or hear them. and talk to them and communicate with them in some way.
You would say you gravitate more to being a medium? I heard you say you may have some gifts in that area.
Right. Yes. More of the medium than the psychic, because I mean, I would,
Yeah.
being a psychic would be kind of cool. That
I used to
know
watch
some
a show
things.
called The Pet Psychic.
Yes.
But she was really more of a medium because she talked to dead pets.
And a lot of people get confused with the terminology, like the definition of both. Like what they both mean.
Right.
But like Carrie, she's a psychic medium. She can do it all.
I used to think she was bullshit, the pet psychic,
Mm-hmm.
because she'd come on and she'd say things like, "Did you have a dog in the 5th grade?" And the person would be like, "Yeah." And they'd be like,
Everybody?
"Did you
Yeah, I
love
was like, we all
this
have
dog
one."
is telling me that you loved him a lot."
Right.
It's like they're like, "I did love the dog, I did."
Yes.
So if you hear from my Shih Tzu Cookie that I had in the 5th grade,
I will let you
left
know.
the door open. I'm sorry that he got hit by the car, but I told him to stay out of the damn street.
Look, if I hear from Cookie, you will be the first to know. Let me tell you.
I really appreciate
How
that.
come psychics can't win the lottery?
You know what? I think that
That's a great
it's a great
question.
question, and you know what? I have thought about that, and I think that if you misuse your gift, then it just knocks it out.
People are going to misuse. I mean, it's human nature. Somebody's going to misuse.
Didn't Miss Cleo go to prison?
There you go.
There you
See,
go.
she misused it.
Right.
And I mean, that's one of the concerns like I have. Like, I don't want to be untrue to, because it is a gift. It's a blessing. It's an honor to have it. And so I don't want to ever do anything to mess it up.
You're working very closely with one of the best in the city when it comes to being a medium, right?
Yes.
What's her name?
Her name is Carrie, Cari Roy.
Okay.
You can look her up.
I've seen her online. I mean, I've seen her on the internet when and she's helping you develop this skill.
She is. We actually only met a little over a year ago.
Okay.
And Catherine, for my birthday, I had asked for a reading with her. I never met her before. Wanted a reading with her. Never. No nothing with her. And so Catherine, for my birthday last year, she, that's what she had got me for my birthday. So we'd go in for my reading, and it was just like the moment that Carrie and I, we just like clicked, and it was just like we knew that like we
Right.
had like a friendship, like it was,
Right,
really.
right.
Kismic.
Yeah, that's the word, kismic, and I mean, ever since then, it's like she's kind of took me under her wing, and like I said, we started, like, she investigated years ago, and she had kind of gotten out of it, and then when she had met me, and then my enthusiasm for the paranormal stuff kind of caught her up in it again, and so, I mean, we're planning on doing some more investigations, and it's really a great friendship has really developed out of that, and I considered myself blessed to have her in my life, not only as a friend, but to help me on this journey, because I never accepted my gifts before until after that we had met, and and that, like I said, I'm on a journey. I'm not, I cannot like just walk into a room like Teresa Caputo now and just make millions of dollars and
Right.
you and this and this and this, but it's like it's a process like with any gift. You have to develop it and
Now, based on what you know, would you say somebody like Teresa Caputo is genuine, or is she
Let's
putting
go
on a show?
ahead and say that Teresa Caputo is a hot ass cougar.
Well, first of all, she's a hot ass.
I just don't see that, but
You don't see that with Teresa?
no, and you think that
man.
I would, but
She looks like she could fix you a nice plate of meatballs and spaghetti, and then
now I would give it. She would probably be a good, but then I'd be thinking about them long fingernails in the meat. I just could no. But like
It's on my back for one.
You've never eaten a meal on Staten Island, have you?
No, I haven't. But like, I know you probably like you're wanting to ask, do I think she's fake or whatever?
Yeah.
And the answer is I don't think that she's fake, and I certainly don't think that she was fake starting out. But you have to, when you're in a production, when you're in a TV
Right.
production, you're having a conversation, all that, and then wait, we got to fix this light.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
we gotta fix,
That's
the
true.
not the microwave,
Things go
the
wrong.
wrong, and you have to, I mean, some things, with her, I mean, you just don't walk into a bakery and the cameras are set up ready
Right,
for you to
right.
start reading.
Right.
Now, I think that once she gets in there, the readings are genuine, and because when you are a medium, a psychic or a medium, you have to be true to be successful, because you know, to me, you would depend on like return business.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're fake, or you try to do things like look up on the internet and you're not true to your craft and you're not true to your gift, you're not going to be successful.
Right.
You might ride the wave just a little bit,
Right.
but you're not going to have the long whatever.
Longevity.
Thank you. I knew it was longevity to stay and be successful. And to
Okay.
me, your reputation in this business means everything.
Right.
I've worked with some Hollywood productions and stuff, and like, even though I'm jaded on that, I totally believe the chick from the Dead Files. Have you
Amy
seen
Allen is the
that
best.
girl right there?
She
Is
is
the real
great.
thing. I'm telling you.
She comes up
she's
with
really good.
she comes up with dimensional things
and
that
then she
I don't
draws
even-
it for you. Good.
I mean, if that world exists,
You should learn
holy
how to
crap!
sketch.
What
Well,
about
no, she has somebody
Sunshine?
sketches for her.
Oh, I thought she sketched it.
No, she
no,
has,
she has
she
somebody.
gets across and she
I'm
does,
drunk a lot
like
of
me,
time.
it would have like a little stick figure. Is this the person who's
really mean.
Right.
And he had a bow tie.
Right, and they would be like, yes, that's the person I saw.
She's different though.
She's
I mean,
great.
Amazing.
She is certainly out there. It's fun. I mean,
Yeah.
When she
Because
does the
she's
look,
the-
she's like, he's got really long fingernails and he's following me down the hallway. And you're like, oh shit, he's following you down the hallway.
Right,
Like,
you
there's
believe
no
it.
doubt in your
You
mind that
believe
she's
it.
seeing that.
Right.
You watch Dead Files?
but
You
she's the only medium, okay, that looks at that addresses those type of demons and spirits.
I don't think so.
I don't see anything close to what she does. I don't see anybody else doing close to what she does. That's just my opinion.
There's not a lot of actual, like if you talk about TV medium or TV,
Yeah.
like mediums, I don't think that there's a lot to glean from. Because I think maybe some of them aren't comfortable with their gifts to get on. Because once you make that crossover into the mainstream, I'm sure you're like very like looked like with under a microscope.
Oh,
right.
Because everybody
Sure,
wants to
sure.
discredit you, or everybody wants to say, oh, is it real? Is it not
Right.
real? And so you have Amy Allen, who's on the Dead Files. You have Cindy Kazas, a wonderful psychic. She's on the Hoser Files. She also does guest appearances. You have Patty Negri, like she's on Ghost Adventures sometimes,
Right.
and I mean you have wonderful people, but it's not like a big influx
Right,
of
right.
psychics and mediums that want to be a part of it, because I think some of them are maybe happy where they are. Not everybody wants to be on TV and make millions of dollars.
Now, Misty, okay, I'm going to.
All right,
I personally have never had a reading.
right.
Ever. And I've never had a paranormal experience. There's never been something where I said, "Ooh, I felt somebody touch me," or "What was that?" I mean,
Bullshit. We were in Maine, and the normalest thing you've ever seen happen. You know how your glass slides with the water? His glass went, and he goes,
I said, "Well, maybe this is it."
could have been my grandparents right down the street from the
And
house.
so then I put the glass back,
I think the table's right.
and I touched it, and it went boom like that. I said, "Well, we debunked
They're
that."
really trying to get to it.
I was hoping.
That's what happens at the Myrtles.
Yeah, I'm desperately hoping for something to happen. But I know that you're a work in progress,
I'm a work in progress.
Okay,
I'm
and
not
I
Teresa
respect that.
Caputo. I'm not Carrie Roy.
but I respect that.
Thank you.
I'll sketch it
But
for you.
just for our audiences, just for shits and grins,
Okay.
There is supposed to be a spirit here. Some of the bartenders
Yeah.
get freaked out sometimes.
but nothing, like I said, I've never experienced, and just a little bit would be fascinating for me.
Yeah.
Could you try to do it, see if you can connect?
I will
something?
try to see if I can connect. Like I said, I'm not going to promise you anything. I'm, putting myself out there.
But if you happen to feel anything out here, we'd like
So
to know.
just give me like just a couple of seconds to kind of center, because I'm.
Woosah.
Everybody, give her time, give her space.
And the thing is, when you have several people in the room, you don't know who it's going to be for at first until you talk
Would
it
it help
out.
if Larry and I gave you some space?
No, I'm
Right
good.
next to you?
I'm fine. But I'm just saying it doesn't matter, because you get like so
Right.
many people in, and it's like. So you're supposed to say that what first come, like what comes in on your mind and all that. I'm getting a female. And it's an L name. She's passed. And so it would be like a mom or an aunt to someone. It's an L name. Does that ring a bell with anybody? It's like an older, it'd be older than whoever is here. It's an L name. It says something about school, like a teacher. Does anybody have a school teacher? Oh, I'm going home. So,
See, I don't remember my school teachers, so I
no,
got.
not that it would be your school teacher, but it would be like an older relative of yours, like it was an L name, like Linda. And that would be like a school teacher or have something to do with a school.
I had an Aunt Linda. She wasn't really my aunt, but she was my mother's best friend.
Okay.
They thought about making her my godmother.
Is she passed?
She has passed.
Does she have anything to do with the school?
Not that I know of.
Okay,
Not really
well then
this-
it may not be her. And that's the thing is, like, you don't want to box and fit it
I'm not
in.
fighting
Like,
for it,
you
I'm
know,
just-
yeah, right. No, don't. But I mean, it's like I'm getting this lady, and whether, and I've had it happen before. Like you tell somebody something, then they're like, don't know what you're talking about, and then I go home and I'm like, well, shit, I really screwed that up. You know, I'm a failure. You know, feel like it, and then they'll come back the next day and they're like, oh shit, I forgot. It's blah blah blah, and I'm like, there we go. But I mean, that's what I'm getting. It's like a female. It's a Linda. It's an L name. Could be a last name, but I'm thinking more of a first name. It's like she's a school teacher or has something to do with a school. She was married to somebody whose name starts with a P, like a Paul. Shit, it may be.
I think my Aunt Linda had a husband named Pete.
I'll say Paul or Peter. Well, if you could find that out for me, at least that would make me halfway feel good, you know, so it's a work in progress.
Right,
And
no,
it's like I'm not embarrassed or anything of it
Right.
because to be put on a spot to do something, you know.
No, I understand. That's why I
She had a
said.
husband named Pete for a minute, though.
Yeah, it's Paul or Peter. You might want to check out the school connection.
She went to school with my mother. I mean,
About Elizabeth.
No, Elizabeth.
Interesting.
Her husband was Patrick.
Yeah, could the L name be coming through as a like possible nickname?
It could be, however you would know
I
that
just wonder, 'cause,
person.
like, I wonder, would a spirit come across to you and only come across with their nickname? Like, everybody calls me Mimi.
But like if that's how the person that passed knew you as like, however, like the nickname, then that's probably how that you would know that this is that person.
Who's Elizabeth?
Yeah.
My mom's Elizabeth, but
Did she go by
nobody,
Liz?
nobody.
Was she a
Liz.
school teacher?
She went by either Liz or Sis.
Okay.
Was she a
And
school
her
teacher?
husband was Patrick?
Her husband was Peter. But she was the oldest kid, but they couldn't pronounce Elizabeth, so they call her Sis, as in like sissy. So they just call her Sis. But
So
her
she
real
was
name
no
was
more
Elizabeth.
Sis?
No, she only goes by like Sis.
Yeah.
Sis.
right.
Okay.
Okay.
That's why I'm just like, you're throwing it
So
out
you
there.
have somebody
No,
that
I was
you,
just
like,
kinda,
curious?
wondering,
But like
if
she
you're
said, I
trying
didn't
to
know
come
they're going
across
by Elizabeth.
with the letter L, maybe it was a
Liz.
nickname.
Yeah, right.
Maybe some of us didn't know the nickname.
Yeah. It's just, you know, it just comes and like the other day I was reading someone and she said, and I got like her sister, the sister's husband and the son, and then as I was, you know, finishing up, she said, oh, you didn't read me about my husband. And And I was like, oh, because I didn't know nothing about her. And I said, oh. And so I closed my eyes, and I said, I'm just going to write down what I got. And I just wrote down the word library. And she started crying. He was a librarian, and I didn't know. Of course, that don't do me no good right now with this.
Right.
But I mean, it's just,
everybody understands that you don't just get messages from the other
no,
side all the time.
no, it doesn't happen, and like, it doesn't happen all the time. I mean, you don't walk. I mean, I'm not Amy Allen.
You also don't have like a big audience like this.
Well, I mean, it's
usually like is it one-on-one?
Normally like that's what I do is like just the one-on-one thing. That way you don't have like.
Right,
You ain't got like non-moms going together.
and when it comes to mediums, okay, an actual person who is sincerely like growing into medium or learning medium will always tell you exactly what's happening, what they're feeling, and if it doesn't connect, they'll say, I'm not,
Right.
You're not going to make a story up to try to get it to the
No,
end.
because I'm not going to start off that way, and it's just not good or a good practice to do it. And even Carrie's always said, if somebody is 100% right all the time, then something's not right. No one is going to be 100% right.
Now that you've started to develop the medium skill set and building a channel, or content, has that changed your view of death?
It has. I would say that I'm trying to think of the right words so I don't sound like crazy or creepy, but like I'm more in tune with it as far as I'm not scared of death. Like I'm not going to go walk in front of an 18-wheeler or
But
something.
you're more willing to accept it when it happens.
I realize, like in my personal opinion and beliefs, I feel like when we die, we just don't die. That
We cross over.
or a piece of us remains, or the energy or something remains, and that's how you're able to communicate. But it's made me like, as a child, I was like extremely scared of death.
Right.
I had like a phobia about death, and I thought everything was going to kill me, and crazy stuff. And for me to develop into this person who like goes and seeks out death, and goes and investigates cemeteries, and goes and in haunted places and looking for death. That's what you're doing. I mean, you're looking for the spirit, but that to obtain that, they had to die. So you're actually around that a lot more than I was.
Right.
So it's changed me in a lot of ways, to appreciate life more, but to also not be, scared of death.
Okay, that's great, because
Yeah.
I happen to have the same belief as you, even though I have zero experience in paranormal or anything like that. And you're not, I've never gone to a medium before. Someday when you feel confident enough, I'm going to have you read me for, because I'm really curious.
Sure.
Okay, about the perception of those in my family who have passed, and what they see and think of me today, and any advice they have for me. I would love to know that. I talk to my father constantly. Unfortunately, my father never answers me back.
Well, he may answer you back in a way that you're not recognizing.
Well,
And I feel like you say that I'm not saying you don't believe, but you're saying nothing's really happened to you before, that you've never experienced anything
that I could not explain.
or that you could not explain.
Right. I couldn't. If I could debunk anything that was even considered close to the arena of paranormal. It was easily debunked.
Right.
So
I think some of it is openness. Like some people are more open.
no, there's no question.
Right, and then some people are more like reserved with it, and I don't think either way is wrong. I just think that if you want to have the experience, you have to the mindset has to be there. Not for you to give up the way that you believe or the way that you think, and but to really experience that. is it's a
Some kind of
mindset.
faith in it.
You do. You either have to believe it, right? Because I know that if I was a spirit, and then like if somebody's not wanting to believe or wanting to put up walls, I'm not going to come to that person because I'm like, why waste my time? Because they're not going to believe. If this microphone fell down right now, I hope it don't. Well, it probably won't, because I couldn't even tell y'all the name. But if this microphone fell...
It's a light.
Right. Whatever. Yeah, the light. If this fell right now, you would, like me, like I would normally think, oh, shit, somebody trying to, like paranormal. You would think, oh, we didn't tighten it up. Right. Joe tripped over it or something happened or it wasn't screwed in tight enough or, and that's the difference. And I think that the mindset has a lot to do with it, and just because that you believe don't make you weak. Believing to me makes you stronger.
I agree with that.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Misty, this is probably the best show we've ever.
This has been a great show, yeah.
This is fantastic, and we appreciate you coming.
Oh,
We'd like to, if you can, would you come back sometime?
Sure.
We've got so many more things, in this field
yeah.
that we're fascinated by and would like to probe more. And, you have a unique experience and are in unique development that neither Charlie or I can relate to.
And also,
And if-
Misty's a fantastic singer.
Oh, she's great singer.
You do
Great
comedy
singer.
too, right?
I did do a
She's
comedy
dabbling
show. I
in
was a
comedy?
guest. I was a guest.
She's a woman of many talents.
That's it. She is the first lady of New Orleans. And I say that sincerely because you can't go on Facebook and look at things going on and not see Misty there. Hi.
Yeah, well,
I got one question for you.
sure.
I asked some stupid shit, but it is what it is. It can't be no worse
Not
than
a
him.
stupid ass.
But like, do you ever, like, when you go home at night and you go lay in your own bed, like, do you think about some like crazy stuff that you might be thinking, like, of people that you might have like sat down with and talked with? And
You talk about, do I think about dead people, or do I think about people that I've met during the day,
yes, but
and about like if they've had spirits around them, or
maybe I didn't. Maybe I forgot about that one, and it just came to my mind. And while you were like just in the bed, like watching TV, I'm like, oh shit.
yeah, because
Mind.
I think when you're trying to go in that sleep realm, when you get quiet and you just kind of there, and I think when you start, like, you reflect on your day, or sometimes.
When you woosah,
Yeah, like
just-
that,
you
like I'm
relax.
watching TV and then I'm, when I get this thing, or my best time, if y'all want to catch me there, is at work. I'll be typing away doing my job, and then I'll be like, this lady had asked me to do a reading, and I told her, I said, well, I'll get back to you in a couple of days. And I'm just at work minding my own business, typing. All of a sudden I just start, it's like her father just starts, and I'm writing. And so what I do, so tomorrow I might be contacting y'all. Yeah, and so tomorrow I might contact y'all because, I told her, I said, okay, I'll let you know if I feel something. I'm like, and so I'm like at work typing, and all of a sudden I start getting all this stuff about her dad, salesman. They had outs. I didn't know they had outs before he died. Like really intense stuff. And so what I did was, after I jot everything down on paper, and that way when I tell somebody, I can just write. I'm like, oh, what did they say? I thought they said, you have it. So I just text her everything that I said. I don't know what this is. It color of his car, everything. Boom, boom.
Wow.
And of course, this don't help when I didn't even get this one. But anyway,
But you did, no, this one here was like, okay, it's basically.
All right, go.
That was an incoming,
Right.
okay?
Right.
That was an incoming you never saw coming.
right, I did. And I'm typing at work, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, what the, and I start writing down, and it's like you don't never know where it's going to come
Right.
from. And like I've been in,
Now,
like
you
I
think
said,
about kids' nightmares, and I didn't know if you think about.
I have
say Joe, like,
right.
I asked Joe a question earlier today.
She
when
probably
he-
thinks about me all the
and
time.
then- No,
who told?
like say Joe went to you today, and then like now it's
Right.
like 8 hours later, and you're laying in the bed, you're watching.
Yeah,
American
and
Idol,
right, it's
you know,
exactly
fall
what you're
asleep, and
saying,
then,
yeah.
Boom! I thought about something about Joe, about like where his aunt is. I'm using
Right.
an example.
Yeah, yeah, I
don't
know.
know if you, maybe you might get that.
That's a great question. Yeah, actually I do, and I haven't, like, I do have dreams, like nightmares, and that I consider nightmares of things that I don't understand. But, yeah, sometimes you can't
Okay.
control, like I said, back talking to you and you're talking about your mom and who she was married to. I might be at work tomorrow. I might be eating steak later or something, and I'll be like, oh, and I'll start getting all this stuff because sometimes our time isn't always their time.
So is it
And, you know-
creepy though if you're laying at bed at 3 a.m. and
that-
somebody like pops up next to you and they're like, "Hey, I'm dead.
Well,
I've been trying to get a hold of you
I
all
want to
day.
talk to you.
I've been dead all day, but I've been
Right.
trying to get a hold of you, and like this was the best time. 3 a.m. is kind of our business hours."
Yeah, I do get that sometimes. I'll be asleep and I've been like grabbed, not in a good way, but like grabbed and like during the night, just grabbed or something will happen or like in the room the light comes on by it's not every day like you would think, like TV wants you
Yep.
to believe, like you're walking down the street and there are things that happen, but it's not like on a continuously basis,
Right.
Well,
But
it's
you
a-
have to learn how to, a lady I talked to one time, when she was little, doctors and her parents really thought she was crazy. Because she would tell them all the time, I'm talking to this one and this one, and they don't exist. They've been going. They took her to doctors and everything,
Sure.
but she really can do it. She's older now. But she said she has to find a way, lots of times in the day, to turn all these people trying to talk to her off. Because you got to be able to live normal,
Right.
without a million people talking to you and screaming, saying, "Go talk to my loved one."
I think that happens when you get really attuned to it, because sometimes your girl on Dead Files will say,
you have to shut it off.
They're
because
so loud.
what happens is, if you think about it, here's how that it was explained to me, like in the world of the spirits and stuff, it's kind of a dark world, and you have someone that has the gift or whatever, and they're like whatever they're doing, and you have somebody that gift, it's like boom, you're a beacon, and they see you.
right, you're the conduit.
Right, and then they're like, shh, and you've got so many, because you think, okay, well, like, I have just my family, or I have just whoever's in the house or was in the house. No, well, if you think about it, you don't never know, because you have to be careful too, because you don't know what you let in, because like a spirit, everybody's not Casper, and I've had spirits that attached themselves that wasn't nice, and we had I had to get rid of them, and it's you have that. I learned I learned to cut them off, but the thing is when you cut them off for too long, they always find ways to get your attention again, and that's when I start having the dreams and the stuff that bother me.
A good spirit versus a not so good spirit? Do you feel that?
Unfortunately, first, I can feel the bad quicker than the good. I don't know if that's just human nature or just the way I'm wired, but I can walk in and I can tell you, like, who, pretty much what, like, if something's good or bad.
Right.
Pretty much. I mean, it's, I just, like, for me, I can feel the bad first,
Right, right.
so.
Well, let me just wrap this up this way. First of all, if you go on a paranormal investigation sometimes, remember Charlie and I, we'd love to join you.
Oh, that would
Part
be
of it.
great, yes.
I'll throw money in for what we got to do to get in it.
Yeah, but we're fat. I've done a couple up in Ripperville, up in the Nashville area,
Okay.
and I struck out. I totally struck out. Everybody around me said, "Oh, they felt touches and blah blah blah." I was like, "I'm trying," but I'd love to go. Because
Oh, yeah, that would be great.
Charlie and I both talked about doing this, but if you have something and you don't
Yeah.
mind inviting us, we're not
course.
going to get in the way, but we want to be part of it.
Oh, I'll get y'all right in the thick of things.
Oh, that would be
Right.
fabulous.
Yeah, I would love that. Like I said, we're going to be doing some more investigations,
Yeah.
and actually supposed to be investigating the Ormond plantation.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. Hopefully that will be soon. They got a creepy doll room.
Yeah.
I've seen it many a time.
Yes.
I actually officiated a wedding there last month, and I was walking up, and I was like, what the heck? I saw that doll room, I was like, oh, Lord, you know. But, yeah, I thank y'all so much for having me
Oh,
here
thank you so much
tonight.
for
Y'all are
coming.
really great.
Oh, you guys,
Awesome.
Misty, this, like I said, this is probably the best show we've done. And we've been at it, what, 7 months, 8 months?
Yeah, we've been here for a second.
Yeah, this is not probably,
I loved it.
This was the
Oh,
best show
thank
we
y'all,
ever
I
did.
appreciate it. I
And we'd
enjoyed
love to
it.
have you back.
Oh, y'all let me know.
We will. We'd
Yeah.
love to have you back. And I hope everybody out there enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please put it in the comment section and we'll respond to you.
Hey, before y'all let go on this thing, can you tell us about the fishing thing that you said last week?
Oh, so we're going to start a fishing YouTube channel. There's going to be some on the bank fishing. There's going to be some on the boat fishing. Maybe Misty can join us on some of that. We're going to do some offshore fishing, some inshore fishing, and we're going to try and highly edit this and have it be a really put together program,
TV
not like this one
quality.
is.
Yes,
So-
it'll be a TV quality.
I've already downloaded some editing software. We're hoping to get into that. very
Start
soon.
editing my stuff, that's what I need.
That's right. And until our next show, which will be 2 days from now,
Right.
we hope everybody's enjoyed this one. I suggest you watch this and share it because this is the kind of stuff that people like to hear and can learn from, and we'll then start questioning stuff, and that leads to learning new stuff and discovering.
Right.
And that's what this is all about. So thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. Thank you, Misty, once again.
Oh, thank
It was
y'all.
fabulous. First Lady in New Orleans here. And don't forget, Wednesday night, 6 o'clock on Facebook.
Let's talk about it.
There it is. Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Adios.